The following program is seen statewide on California Public Television. Well, hello everybody. I'm Huell on this absolutely spectacular day in Northern California. And boy, Phil, we are really in Northern California. Tell everybody exactly where we're standing right now.
Well, right now, we're only about 50 miles from the Oregon border, and we're in a place called Gold Bluff Beach, which is part of Prairie Redwoods State Park.
Now this is totally unexpected right here. We were driving down this little dirt road and came upon this amazing collection of, what do you call this, driftwood?
This is driftwood to the max. This is the biggest it gets, really. And it has just been recently replenished this winter. We had a major storm that uncovered a lot of this wood that has been here for years under the sand.
So this is old driftwood from what, the logging days? Because look, there's a cut. Right here.
That's good, real observation, a good observation, because that is what it is. A lot of these were logs that were either in the woods, ready to be hauled out in the woods along the riverbanks, or they're from decks, actually, the wood was stocked up, and the storms that came through raged down, brought them out to sea from the floodwaters that were created, and then they ended up on the beaches here years ago.
This is almost sculptural right here. This is some of the most beautiful driftwood I think I've ever seen in California.
It's impressive, I have to admit, and I'm seeing it every day, but this is impressive.
Do people stop here and take pictures?
Yes, you imagine coming around the corner like we did, and it was, let me get up there with you. I came around the corner my first time out here and saw this. This is the beach you see, and then you see the wood too at the same time. So it's amazing, and people do love taking pictures just of the wood.
It is absolutely spectacular, and of course the ocean coming in today, this big wide expanse of sand. This is a spectacular park. How big is this park?
Well, it's give you an idea, the trails themselves, there's over 75 miles of trails just in the Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park. And the acreage is over 100,000 mixing. We do have a partnership with the national park, so we kind of combine the acreages.
Is this kind of a hidden park? Is it heavily used, or is this kind of off the beaten track?
The second. It's more off the beaten track. We're finding more people that are coming back year after year that have found out from friends or they've been here before, but a lot of it's word of mouth. People find out about Gold Bluff Beach.
Boy, this is spectacular, but I gotta tell you, as beautiful as this wood is, this old historic driftwood, and as beautiful as the ocean is, this is not why we're here. We have come here to visit something that is found, I don't think, anywhere else in California, is it?
No,
don't give it away.
Not that I'm aware of.
We've been hearing about this for years. It's just a couple of miles down the road. We're getting ready for a wonderful adventure here in the name of the park again.
Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park, Gold Bluff Beach.
Definitely one of California's golden parks.
I love you, California. You're the greatest state of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear mountains I adore. I love your grand old ocean, and I love a rugged shore.
Oh boy, we're not even there yet, but this is already, I mean, I'm excited just about where we are right now. I hope the camera can pick this up, because this is as beautiful a stand of trees as I've ever walked through. What are we walking through right here?
These are red alder, and they're related to the birch. Look a lot like a birch tree.
Boy, this is beautiful. Are these coastal trees?
They're coastal, grow along these moist coastal slopes.
Lots of moss on the tree.
You noticed that right away, yes. That shows you that we do get some rain here.
And the temperature is already dropped 5-10 degrees.
Yes, and it'll probably drop more when we get to the canyon.
Now let's just stop and take a look right out in front of us. Cameron, you just keep on walking, because this is such a beautiful shot. Where are we headed, Phil?
Well, we're very close to the mouth or the entry to Fern Canyon.
Fern Canyon, that is our destination. Tell us a little bit about Fern Canyon. I guess we're gonna get all the information to kind of build up to actually getting there. How far away is it from here?
Well, I can almost see it from here. It's about 100 yards, and I'd hate to tell you too much about it. I'd like to let you experience it once we get there. So we'll...
So you're not going to tell me?
I'm not. I'm keeping it kind of to myself.
All right, so we'll stop here because this is a great shot just looking at all this foliage around us, and then we'll go into Fern Canyon itself. We are here, and I say that in kind of a hushed tone because this is more than I anticipated, and yet this is just the entrance to Fern Canyon.
The best is yet to come, but this is very impressive. You're right.
Now, what are we walking through here? This looks almost like a ravine of some sorts or something that's been cut through.
Yes, well, the creek that we're walking through, Home Creek it's called, has cut through this canyon over time and eroded it down.
And here are the ferns and this wonderful water, and this is spectacular. Now, it's not going to get better than this.
It gets better. I don't want
Really?
to downplay it too much here, but it does get better. More
Look at
ferns,
this.
too.
Now, why is this here? Why is this happening?
Well, as you can probably imagine, ferns love moist and cool areas, and this canyon creates its own little microclimate. It stays cool and moist in the hottest days of summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a unique thing in itself.
I like walking in the water instead of
see
over
that.
there. This is great. Look at this. A big old tree is just falling right down.
Yes, it did just fall this year, this winter.
So look at this up here. It almost looks like a medieval forest of sorts looking through
It
there.
does, very prehistoric. And look at the mats of ferns in the crotches of the trees. Those are unique to only those areas.
And you say it's here because of the moisture? Because we're not really that far away from the ocean, are we?
No, we're not. And just the shade and the limited sun that it gets in here creates that moist climate.
Boy, look at this. Now, does this literally just cut back through the...
Through the canyon here, yes. It creates the canyon, and it will get steeper, I think, as we go. It should. It did yesterday when I was here.
And what are we going to see as we go back into here?
Well, you really want me to tell you, or would you rather see it?
Well, I don't know whether the camera can pick it up, but we've got a whole... I mean, the whole sides of the canyon are just covered in these ferns. They're
Yes.
everywhere.
There's over 8 species in here, if you can imagine. And we'll see the most predominant one here shortly. The one that stands out amongst all of them.
Look how beautiful this is. With the light
The
hitting
sun
it.
hitting it, I know. You don't always get sun in here, but this is a spectacular day, especially with the sun.
Wow.
We're coming up to the narrowest part of the canyon right up here. Narrowest across.
Who discovered this?
You know, I can't answer that. I know that the Native Americans were using this canyon when they were in the area. And of course, miners came into this area around the 1850s and stumbled on it.
Look at this. Now this. Oh my gosh.
I told you it gets better.
This. Oh my gosh. Look at this.
Yes, that's what most people feel, I think. And I do too every time I come, but I'll let you go ahead.
This is something out of a movie. This is something out of another place.
Well,
another time.
It is. It's sort of prehistoric, could you say? I mean, it is. It's got that feeling. Ferns, of course, have been around since the dinosaurs. In fact, we did have a film company in here not long ago. They filmed the second Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg's production, Lost World.
Was here?
Filmed right here. In fact, we're walking right up where the fellow that got chased by the little dinosaurs went. He ran right up this canyon, and he did get eaten. Well, I can point out that point later. If
There are no dinosaurs in here today.
Well, I don't know. Today, maybe not.
But there could have been, well, could there have been dinosaurs in here?
Well, it was much different back in that time. This canyon was formed, these walls were formed about 4 million years ago. Actually the formation that they flow through, I should say. And in fact, if we come in close here, you can kind of see the rocks that form this? They're round rocks.
Look at this.
And moss covered.
Oh, you mean these
rocks? Well, the rocks underneath, and we might see a little better farther, but these are river rocks that were put here about 4 million years ago by the ancestral Klamath River flowing over this area.
Wow.
And they've actually, like a riverbed that we're walking through.
Look at the sun on the ferns up there.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And I think
backlighting them.
The beauty of it is the depth of this canyon that we're in.
Yes.
Do you call it I mean, I guess it is literally a canyon.
It's a canyon, although we get everybody asking about it who haven't been here. They call it everything from gulch to fern place to, we have a list of all the things they call it. But we know what they mean when they come and ask for it.
How deep is this canyon?
Well, the tallest, probably about 100 feet at one. We're coming to it. We're not quite to the upper end of it.
Look where we've just come from. That in itself is just an amazing shot, just to see how deep down we are. Those are tall trees.
They are, and when we get moving the other way, you'll see one that came down a few years ago and actually is upside down, stuck into the floor of the canyon.
This tree right here.
Yes. It's pretty unique. People ask how that got there, and
you mean it fell off there?
It fell from above
and impaled itself.
I didn't see it happen, but it impaled itself like a inverted carrot. It's just upside down now.
Look at this.
We don't know how long it'll last, but it's been here about 2 years now.
Has it been given a name yet by the visitors?
No, I could give you
the upside down tree.
That's a good one. I like it.
Wow, look at
roots in the air tree. Yes.
Oh, look at these trees.
Yeah,
so they just fall down in here.
Well, you can imagine there's not a lot of support when they get up, get near the canyon edge here. After years and years of growth and then heavy winters, sometimes they just lose their footing. So they're not necessarily real old trees. These aren't, but they came down with a crash, that's for sure.
Boy, you know what? This is a real adventure. Just going back in here. Look at this, walking under these huge, big fallen trees.
These are those big spruce trees, Sitka spruce trees. They're all throughout this area. No redwoods here.
Boy, this canyon, it gets more and more beautiful as we go along. This, I think, is the prettiest part of the canyon.
You were asking about the tallest part. We're coming to that now. Right up here is about the highest part of the canyon wall.
Right up here.
Yeah, and here's some nice showers coming down.
Now, are these natural springs where the water is just kind of popping out?
Yes, yeah, they run year-round. Of course, there's much more water coming over in the wintertime when the rain's coming down, but natural and continuous.
Boy.
And the sun hitting, that's nice. Look at that.
This is, oh man. This is as pretty a sight as I've ever seen, looking up here at this water coming down and hitting the moss and the ferns and the sun.
Yes, isn't it? I mean, you could cool off on the hottest day for sure right here, and then some moss, you can see there's no ferns here right here because they don't like that much water. They're off to the sides more, so some ferns don't tolerate that much water.
This is as prehistoric a look as I think I've ever seen, ever.
I've had people say that, and they say it's one of the most unique places they've ever seen too, And I'm sure you've seen a lot of places in California. But
yeah, but I came here expecting to see ferns.
A few
I didn't come here expecting to see ferns in this kind of a setting.
Yes.
It's the setting, not just the ferns.
I like to hear your perspective because, that's what I think most people are feeling when they come here. They say, man, what's the big deal about Fern Canyon? And I think when you get here, you can really realize it is something to behold.
There's life in Fern Canyon. You have to know what you're looking for, but if you do, what are we looking at here, Phil?
Well, you're looking at a banana slug in kind of an interesting position in amongst a five-finger fern, which you don't see very often, actually.
Now, what's that banana slug doing there?
Well, right now he's little bit wondering what's touching him, but I think he's been feeding on the fern. He's got some evidence that he's been eating on that one there, and now he's taking a rest, it looks like.
Wow. Now we stopped here not only to look at the banana slug, but to look at, well, there's a lot to see right in here. And the first thing I spotted, here are these river rocks that are, this whole bank is made out of rocks from the bottom of a river.
Right.
Which had to have been here how many thousands, millions of years ago?
More like 4 million, I think, is what they estimate. The Klamath River, like I said, flowed through here.
So it's all compressed river rock right here.
Compressed, making the walls very vertical.
Yeah, look at this wall right over here. This is an amazing wall right here.
There's not a lot of water flowing off of it now, but that's why you don't see a lot of ferns. In wintertime, it starts to flow over that.
And we stopped here to look at, now tell us what all we're seeing here, because this is where you shine right here.
Well, no, there's an awful lot of things here. Obviously, this is Fern Canyon, so I think we should talk a little bit about the ferns a little more. I mean, we've talked a little about the five-finger fern. But
this is the five-finger.
Yeah, I should point out that the stems are what make it pretty unique. They're a very, very, very strong stem, as well as dark. Native Americans like that for their basketry. They would weave it into the baskets for designs. The Yurok Indians that lived in this area, Native Americans.
This is the five-fingered fern.
And of course it has more than 5 fingers on some of them, some as many as 10.
Now these are different.
These are. This is the most common fern in the whole redwood forest. And it's found in Fern Canyon, but not as plentiful as the five-finger. The sword fern. The way to remember this, if you're out looking around, there's a little hilt at the bottom. If you look, there's a little bit of a edge to the bottom, and that would be like the swords of yesteryear that have the protective.
Wow. Now what are these? Are these ferns?
No, they're not, and they're pretty common in here. It's a unique plant. Tolmia is the actual genus for it, but it's actually a piggyback plant is what people call it.
Why do they call it piggyback?
Well, if you look over this way, there's a couple of good examples of it.
There's one.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Got 2 piggies.
It's growing.
Maybe 3.
On piggyback on top of the other one.
Right out of the back of the young are coming out of the back of the old one, yes.
Wow.
That's one way they reproduce.
But this isn't a fern.
Not a fern, no.
And this isn't a fern. It looks like some kind of a wildflower over here.
It is, and it's still blooming, as you can see. It started in probably June, and they're still blooming. The monkey flower. Monkey flower. They say it looks like the face of a monkey, but I'm not so sure.
So if you look around here, and you know what you're looking for. So is this the sword?
That's the sword, yes.
This is the sword right here.
And that's a good example of a full-grown sword fern.
Now, how old would a plant like this be growing here like this?
That's a good question. I don't have an actual idea. That you can see the older fronds underneath, but it's at least, I would say, 5 to 10 years plus.
Because this stuff, I mean, you don't know whether it's 5 years, 50 years, 500 or 5,000 years old back in here. You kind of lose track of time back here.
You do, and of course the ferns reproduce each year and come back anew. These are all going to, as you can see on that bank over there, there's that wall, there's a lot of dead ferns underneath. That was last year's crop, if you want to call it that, and the new ones have come out this year.
Now, you said the Native Americans used them for what?
Well, the basketry was especially for the five-finger fern. They wove it into their baskets, and they would make medicines out of some of the other ferns, and some of the roots were used and even eaten on some of the larger rooted ferns. So there was uses, but now we like the use of just looking at them. That's our favorite use of them, at least in this area.
Or just standing here quietly like this, listening to the water and looking and just taking it all in, what this place gives you. You're looking up at the canyon walls.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, how would you describe this to people who've never seen it before?
Oh, it's a very full experience. It smells clean and healthy. The sights are amazing. It sounds wonderful because of the running water.
Hi, I'm Tara.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Tony.
Nice to meet you all. Where are you all from?
We're from Burbank, California.
And what are you doing in Fern Canyon?
Taking a little day off and getting a nice hike up here.
Have you been here before?
Yes, I've been to this actual area once before.
So you're back for a return visit.
Yes, I am.
Your first visit?
It is my first visit, and I'm just amazed.
What did you expect?
I didn't know what to expect, and this is not what I was expecting.
What were you expecting? This
overwhelmed.
is interesting because this is my first.
I've been in the area, and I've seen the redwoods, and I was expecting a lot of the trees, which is beautiful up here anyways, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
I am so excited. I just don't want to ever leave.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Where are you all from?
We are from Israel.
From Israel?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about this place?
It's gorgeous, amazing.
Did you know what to expect when you came in here, or?
No.
Well, how would you
We
describe?
expected to see the giant trees, but it's so different and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
High. The canyon is gorgeous, green, rich.
It just keeps getting better and better as you go along. And what's interesting about it is, this is a short little canyon, isn't it?
It is. It's maybe a half a mile of actual canyon.
But you get totally lost in it and lose all sense of perspective. I don't know whether, how this is going to show up at home. The sense you feel when you're down in this canyon.
I know what you're saying. It's you have to almost be here to really get that feeling, but hopefully this will give the people a little bit more idea what it's like.
And right down here, we're ending up with this amazing tree, which kind of marks the end of the canyon. And this tree in itself is a story.
It is, and it's a recent story, really. It only 4 or 5 years ago is when it came down in the heavy rain that we had that winter. I like to ask people where they think which side of the canyon it fell from.
Over there.
Okay, half will say this side, half of that. You're right. It came from there, it broke free, slid down about February, snapped at the top, and the other half ended up falling that way. And it's been here ever since, and it's quite an attraction. One of the biggest Sitka spruce trees that we have in the park.
A spruce tree? And
Yeah.
how old is this old spruce tree?
Well, I'm estimating anywhere from 400 to 600 years.
And the ferns are already growing
Yes.
in the root system here.
They'll find the most unusual place to grow, and they're hardy. They grow just about anywhere.
So ferns are a hardy plant.
They are. They spread by roots and also by spores, of course.
Boy, this is amazing looking at the size of this spruce tree. That's how old did you say it was?
Well, I'm guessing up to 600 years, but it could be even older.
You know, everything here is old and beautiful and overwhelming. I don't know what I expected, but I have certainly not been disappointed. The name of this place is Fern Canyon. It is located in
Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park.
and it's definitely off the beaten track.
It is.
But boy, when you come back in here and discover this, you are just speechless.
I am. And that's the best way to put it. It's a beautiful place.
If you're speechless, that means something.
Well, I've heard a lot of people that are very enthused after they leave here who weren't sure what to expect,
Yeah.
and now they are. And they're really
Well,
excited.
it's been wonderful. Thank you
Well, thank
so
you,
much.
Huell.
Let's just stand back and get a shot of it, because this place called Fern Canyon, hidden back here, right off the northern coast of California, with its age and with its beauty. This place is definitely one of California's golden parks. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure in one of California's golden parks. You know, we have so many wonderful parks in our state, all of them well worth a visit. And if you'd like to go on this particular adventure again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library. Well, it's available on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.